Good morning, boys and girls. So if we were in class regularly, you all would come into the room for reading, and I would have some chart paper up on the board, and we would talk, and I would introduce to you what we were going to be learning for the week. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, but instead of chart paper, I'm going to use my Google Slides here. So this week and next week, we're going to be talking about asking and answering questions. So our I can statement for this week is I can ask and answer questions that start with question words like who, what, where, when, why, and how. Now, before we get started asking and answering questions, we need to know what a question is. So a question is a sentence that begins with a question word and ends with a question mark. So questions have an answer to them. So if I say, what is your name? What is a question word? And it would end in a question mark, and that has an answer to it. So what is your name? The answer would be what? I hope you all said your name just then. So this is an example of a question. What, there's your question word. Whoops, I'll go back. What is the weather like today? What is your question word? There's your question mark. So when you're writing questions, you need to make sure that you use those at the beginning and the end. And think about what the question is wanting to know. What is the weather like today? It wants to know what outside is happening with the weather. It starts with a question word, ends with a question mark, and it would have an answer. You can ask and answer questions before you read, while you're reading, during your reading, or after you read. So you can do it before, during, and after. What are some question words? So questions can start with who, what, where, when, why, how, do, which. Sometimes they start with so. There are all kinds of question words, but those are the most common ones. How can story elements help us answer questions? So you all talked about story elements when you were in first grade, but it's been a while since you've talked about them. So we have our characters. Our characters are our who. These are the characters or the animals in a story. So they're the people or the animals in a story. Those are going to be our who's. Our setting is our where the story is happening or where the characters in the story are. The plot is the when or the what. So the sequence of events or what happens in the story. It's the beginning, the middle, and the end. The problem or the conflict is something that happens to a character that is not good or it needs to be fixed. So if I spilt something on myself, that might be a problem for me. The resolution, which I don't know if you all can see that. Let me see if I can drag it down. There we go. The resolution says it's how something or how the problem is fixed. So the resolution is how the problem is fixed. So if I spill something, I can go get a paper towel. That's how my resolution can happen. I can fix the problem. So after you're done reading a fiction story, you would ask, who were the characters? Where was the setting? What happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end? What was the problem? How was the problem resolved or fixed? Great. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to read you a little story, and then after we're finished reading, we're going to answer some of these questions. And the story that we're going to read is called Please Wait. Please Wait. Today was the first day of school, and my friend Jody had a new haircut. It looks so cool. So right there already I see a character. So I'm going to go back. Sorry, my lights kicked off. If you don't move, they turn off. There we go. Sorry about that, boys and girls. So I see a character already. So I can go ahead and add that into our chart. Who were the characters? Jody. I know Jody was a character, or is a character. Today was the first day of school, and my friend Jody had a new haircut. It looked so cool. When I got home, I asked my mom for a haircut, and I told her exactly how I wanted it. I asked her very politely if she could do it today. Sadly, she was busy. She told me that it takes a long time to cut hair. First, you have to take a bath so your hair is wet. Then you have to brush it out really well, she said. My face dropped as my mom continued. Finally, when you cut, you have to use special scissors and cut very gently so that everything is even. Her voice trailed off. You need to be very careful and get it just right. If you make a mistake, you can't glue the hair back on, she said, laughing. I didn't think it was very funny. Maybe I can cut it for you on the weekend, she told me. I went back to my room and looked at my hair in the mirror. It was way too long, and I didn't want to go back to school looking like this. Uh-oh, boys and girls. I can kind of see where this is going. I thought about what Mom had told me. She said to take a bath first. But I already took one this morning. Then she said to brush my hair, so I gave it a quick brush. Mom had said to use special scissors. I got my school scissors out of my desk. If they could cut paper, they could cut hair. What do you think they're going to do, boys and girls? I'm getting nervous. If you're watching this with somebody, tell whoever you're watching with this what you think they're going to do. You can pause it and tell them. Make a prediction. All right. I looked in the mirror again and paused. Mom's comment that you can't glue it back on again made me worry a little. I decided to cut just a little hair off. Snip, snip, snip. I watched some hair float to the floor. I looked in the mirror, and one side was shorter than the other. Snip, snip, snip. I looked again, but now the other side was shorter. Snip, snip, snip. It was still wrong. Snip, snip, snip. I kept trying to fix things, but the more I cut, the more lopsided and crooked my hair became. I started to cry. Were your predictions right, boys and girls? I thought she was going to do that. I thought she was going to cut her own hair. Mom walked in. She looked at my new haircut. She shook her head and didn't say anything. I don't like it when she doesn't say anything. Are you mad because I'm ugly? I asked. No, I'm disappointed because you were not patient. I am disappointed that you did not wait for me, she replied. I went to the bathroom and took a bath. My mom brushed my hair out and clipped gently with her special scissors. It wasn't perfect, but it was much better. My mom smiled as she combed my hair one last time. All good things come to those who wait. All right, so that was our story. Let's go back to our slide. Our characters were Jody. The person who's talking is called the narrator. So I'm going to say narrator because I don't think they ever said her name. We can go back and look in the story and make sure. But I don't think they ever said her name. Nope. So it's just the narrator. And then her mom was the other character. Where was the setting? So where did the story take place? Where did the story happen? And if you're watching this with somebody, you can pause it and tell them your answer, or you can just say it out loud. If you said their house, you are completely right. So the setting was in the narrator's or the little girl's house. And she cut the hair in the bathroom. What happened in the beginning, middle, and end? Now, I don't want you to sit there and say every single thing that happened, only the most important parts. So at the very beginning, what made her think about a haircut to begin with? Let's look back. My friend Jody had a new haircut, and it looked so cool. So she saw, the little girl saw that Jody had a new haircut. So she asked her mom if she could have one. And then her mom said what? Her mom said, you'll have to wait. And because she told her to wait, she decided just to do what? Cut her own hair. She decided to cut her own hair, and it turned out bad. All right, now, I'm going to erase that so that you can see my other questions and what I'm typing on them. Okay, what was the problem? So the problem was the little girl cut her own hair because her mother asked her to wait. Okay? How was the problem resolved? So how did they fix that problem? How did they fix that problem? Her mom did what? Her mom helped her fix it. Her mom helped her fix it. All right. So that's what you're going to be thinking about, boys and girls, while you are listening. Not while you are listening, while you are reading your stories and while we are reading in small group together. Okay, so be thinking about what makes a question, those question words, the question mark at the end. How do you know that a sentence is a question? Look for those pieces and be thinking about those story elements, characters, setting, plot, the problem, and how they fix that problem. All right, thank you for listening, boys and girls.